All right, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to explain to you why these hacks and shortcuts, things like supplements and these random biohacks you hear online, are actually a waste of time when it comes to you trying to solve low energy, fatigue, brain fog, bloating, all these kind of things, right? And if you're watching this video, more than likely someone who cares about their performance. You're either an athlete or a business owner. More than likely you're a business owner and you care about your performance and your health and you don't want to feel brain foggy and low energy. And I'm going to explain to you why this is a waste of time and money. And I'm going to tell you about the client who messaged me about this recently, and it's a pattern I see all the time. It's a mistake I made for years, and let's get into it. So a client basically messaged me, I think it was before we started working together. We were just talking, I was understanding the context, and he sent me a message of all the supplements he was taking and a few biohacks he was doing, sauna, intermittent fasting, cold showers, etc. And I didn't tell him directly, maybe more so in my head. I just said, bro, like, you're wasting your time and money. You're also getting your hopes up and completely letting yourself down, right? And I'll explain to you why. Because brain fog, low energy, anxiety, bloating, all these things that you experience day to day that are not optimal, these are coming from a root cause, okay? These are symptoms that you're trying to fix with other things that solve the symptoms, right? So let's say, for example, you get brain fog, and then you hear about, cold showers are good because it increases your adrenaline and your dopamine. It clears brain fog. And you also hear about another supplement. This does that, and it lowers inflammation, it lowers brain fog. Great, awesome. When you try these things, they might give you a temporary relief, maybe. And essentially, it's kind of the same as, you have a big wound on your body. You physically have a big wound on your body. And instead of the root cause for that is actually going in and getting surgery and they put stitches and whatever they need to do. I'm not a doctor. You just put a band-aid or some tape over it. And it's still it stops the bleeding temporarily, but you have to keep changing it all the time. You have to keep changing it, right? It's kind of like that when you try and fix something like brain fog or low energy or bloating with a supplement or a daily habit or a daily thing, like some kind of daily health protocol you might have heard online. What you need to do is fix the root cause, because it's coming from somewhere. It's getting caused from somewhere, right? And for most people, it's their hormones, it's their gut health, it's their sleep, it's their stress management, right? And so they need to figure out systems to build. I'll slow down. But you need to figure out how you're getting there continuously all the time. Now, I'm not saying you have to go through life and never get brain fog, never get low energy, but there's a degree where it becomes too much. If you're always crashing every afternoon, if you've always been bloated, if you're always tired, especially right when you wake up, and you find it hard to sleep, you need to stop trying to fix it with these quick shortcuts that are very sexy. They're very, shiny object. They're very cool. It's fun, an $80 supplement thing has these benefits. And all you have to do is pop a pill. Even things like peptides, they're unique in their own way. They can sort of fix a root cause, but you do have to have the fundamentals in place. But anyway, for these examples I'm giving you now, every hack that you do that fails, pretty much you put a band-aid on and it sort of works, but it sort of doesn't. You'll know exactly what I mean. How many supplements have you bought? How many things have you tried to fix a symptom you're experiencing and you still have it? Now, every time you go and try a hack, you get your hopes up, you get optimistic, you spend some money, you wait for it, you get it. If it's a supplement or some kind of diet or whatever, or it's a cold shower, you go do this thing. And every time it doesn't work, you wasted all this time doing it that it didn't really work in the long term. You also lose hope in health optimization actually being something that you can control and fix. But you also have more time where you're not operating at your full potential as a business owner. That's more time where you're making content without energy. It's more time you're taking calls, not showing up as your best self. It's more time you're short-tempered with your team and you just are too tired to work and you don't have the right energy to work. It's more time you're not spending being around your family and your friends because you're stressed out on work. You have to keep working more because you're tired, because your efficiency of your work is so bad you have to work all day. Just as some examples of patterns I recognize with people I work with. And by the way, if you want to see if we're a good fit to work together, if you want to customize health and performance protocol built around your busy lifestyle using real data, completely personalized with AI systems and maybe some cheeky pay, if you qualify, you can click the link in the bio and we can chat from there. But anyway, with this client, Ashley, what I did is once we started working together, I quickly understood how he was running his day, how he was operating, what he was doing, the supplements he was taking, how he was eating, how he was training, calories he was having. In the meantime, we ordered gut tests, blood tests, ordered him a Whoop band to track his sleep. I told him that most of the supplements he was taking is just a waste of time and money, right? Now, some of them I kept in because it made sense with his context. I was like, okay, cool, you should be taking that, you should be taking that. For example, good quality fish oil, everyone benefits from that. Good quality magnesium glycinate or L-threonate, good for most people. Vitamin D, we can wait till you're to see what your test results come back for, but you live in the UK, so more than likely you should keep doing it, right? But essentially, what we found out when the testing came back is that the issue was in his gut. He had a lot of inflammation and a lot of dysbiosis and imbalances in his gut, right? Which is very common and no one actually checks, especially a doctor, especially a fitness coach. They don't check for those kind of things, right? For myself, I'm actually going through a gut improvement right now. I've got an overgrowth in a certain fungus called Candida something. I'm taking certain supplements, blocking out certain foods, and I'm feeling so much better. I'm going through a detox. Anyway, just a live example that I can relate to that. But for my client here, all right, there was two things actually. He was massively under eating his calories, which was increasing cortisol, ruining his hormones, lowering his testosterone, making his body, store more fat around the lower belly, even though he had like a skinny frame. He was just basically starving himself and it was killing him slowly, essentially, right? For a young guy. And his gut had inflammation. So those were the root causes. And if I didn't figure out the root causes, I could have said, bro, you should try these supplements and try that and do an ice bath because you feel so good when you do it. And you should eat steak and eggs and you should do this and you should do that. When all we have to do is strip things back. Fuck your supplements, fuck your diet, fuck all of that. Let's do the testing and see where the real bottleneck is coming from, right? So there's lifestyle habits, he was under eating, and then there's also his gut health. So he had a lot of inflammation and bacterial overgrowth and just like imbalances basically. So those were the two main root causes. And when we just focus on that and didn't worry about shiny object, chasing all these new things that sound good on paper, right? Then weeks later, it was probably within that same week when I just told him to start eating more, but obviously he would feel better. But his mornings felt so much sharper. He was running a very high cortisol lifestyle. He was quite stressed. He had a bit of, drama happening in his life, which is completely normal and relatable, right? Who doesn't deal with that? But he was having so much more energy, feeling so much better. I'll probably try and put a screenshot on the page right now of him messaging me about the improvements he was getting a few weeks in. But just from that, he's at the start of his agency, getting his first few clients. He's at that grind stage where you really just have to like spam out the DMs, spam out the content, do the follow-up, sell. Very demanding, right? Very, very demanding. And he thought he just needed more discipline, as most people do, as I thought I did. I was making the same mistake in 2022, 2023, 2021, actually, especially. I was trying everything and anything instead of just doing the testing, seeing what I actually needed to improve on with my biology, and then fixing that, and then watching everything else improve. So to summarize, a client messaged me before we started working together with, the supplements and all the things he was doing to fix his brain fog and low energy. I told him it was a waste of time because you're not solving the root cause, and that these are coming from a root cause. They're not just existing. And I told him that every time you try a hack and that fails and doesn't sustain on the long term, you're distracting yourself more, you're wasting, precious energy and resources that could have been put towards calls. You're taking more sales calls, you're sending more DMs, you're recording more content. And with a version of you that's not as optimal as it could be in terms of energy, mental clarity, how you look, right? When you're in shape, people respect you a lot more, all right? Just as a byproduct of working on your health, right? You should be around 15% body fat. It's not the end all be all. And then after that, we stripped things back and we found the bottlenecks, which was he was under eating and his gut was inflamed. And then weeks later, after addressing his gut inflammation and just eating more of the right foods, he started feeling a lot better. And he thought he needed more discipline. And that's it. Now, if you guys check the description, I'm not sure if this will be launched yet, but I will have a quiz that you can take that's going to tell you what's most likely the root cause, like where your bottleneck is with your health. So it's either gut health, sleep, stress, or hormones. So there's about 13 questions. It will take you literally a minute, maybe even less, to fill it in. And it's going to tell you what is most likely your root cause, so you know what you need to focus on. Now, I wish there was something like that for me years ago and that I actually followed it. And there's going to be guides attached to that as well you can purchase. Right now it's not actually launched, but I'm hoping that when I upload this, it will be official. But that is it. Hope you guys found that useful, and I will speak to you later. See ya.